It has been a week, an interesting match week 5 of interesting draws, bottlings, crucial wins, winning streak continuing, and unbeaten records being kept. And we're going to break it down here on El Pablo FC just to give you a review of the match week 5 of the Premier League. What if I told you that in just one weekend, the Premier League title race was not just shaken, but fundamentally redefined? I mean, if I told you that the most dominant team in the world played the most undominant football of its existence, and in doing so, handed the title initiative to its biggest rival, what if I told you that a single result bought Billingard manager a crucial lifeline, while a different result in a different stadium cemented a decade-long curse for another? Welcome to the definitive breakdown of the Premier League match week 5 weekend. That was less about final scores and more about consequential shifts, the tactical contradictions, as well as the off-field controversies that will define the narrative of the Premier League. I mean, we could go on and on talking about everything, but this was a week of chaos, a week of consequence, and above all, a week of stunning clarity as far as the Premier League is concerned. First of all, we have to talk about, the order at the top of the table before the weekend. The narrative felt very familiar. Basically, Liverpool and Man City looked locked in a two-way, fight for dominance. Basically, Man City down the table, Liverpool on top of the table. But match week 5 changed everything again, and it started at Anfield on the 247th Merseyside derby. And Liverpool, the early front runners, went into their match against Everton with an almost perfect record. And for a while, it looked like business as usual. I mean, they raced out to the early 2-goal lead with new signing with Ryan Gravenberch finding the back of the net, and a significant moment for a player who's already scored this season, and after only scoring once in the last couple of matches. This was quickly followed by a composed finish from Hugo Ekitike, a goal that looked deceptively simple but required real technical skill. And you can see the reason why Hugo Ekitike starts ahead of Alexander Isak. But here's the fascinating part. Despite the commanding lead, Liverpool's performance was not one of complete control. You see that after they went up by 2, they seemed to lose their way, and this allowed the new look Everton side to find their footing. They also were revitalized by a familiar face, Jack Grealish, who is on loan from Man City. Grealish was a constant menace on the wing, drawing fouls and creating opportunities, and Man City and Everton's persistence paid off. Just before the hour mark, Idrissa Gueye capitalized on a Grealish orchestrated attack to pull a goal back. Grealish has been showing, form and consistency, and from there, the match became a nervy affair. It was less about Liverpool's dominance and more about their resilience. The fact that they've now surrendered a 2-goal lead on 3 separate occasions this season points to a fascinating, maybe a little worrying psychological and tactical fragility. But ultimately, they held on for a 2-1 win, extending their perfect record. And the better irony for this is that for Everton manager David Moyes, this defeat extended his winless streak at Anfield to an unbelievable 21 Premier League games. So the streak continues. So while Liverpool secured the points, the true gift came from their 2 biggest rivals in the weekend's blockbuster clash, and that is Arsenal versus Man City. This was the headliner for the weekend, and this was the most anticipated fixture of the week, a battle of the master and his apprentice, Pep Guardiola, against former assistant manager Mikel Arteta. But the football we saw was a dramatic departure from what we expected. Manchester City, the high possession kings, adopted an ultra-defensive approach. The stats actually tell a different story. They were pragmatic. This was a pragmatic deep line style, more akin to something you'd see from a Jose Mourinho team. Now, the stats tell a different story, as I said. Man City's 32% possession was the lowest ever under Pep Guardiola, and they recorded a career low 8 touches in the opposition penalty area. That is ridiculous. Now, Guardiola later admitted that this tactical change was as a result of player fatigue following a midweek Champions League fixture. He took out all his forward line. He took out his entire forward line and changed and played back 5 at the back and still conceded to a Martinelli. On the other side, to a Martinelli goal. On the other side, Arsenal initially struggled against the defensive setup. Arteta was criticized for overthinking his initial lineup by benching Eberechi Eze, a player who had previously caused Man City problems in the past. But here is where Arteta's philosophy of having finishers or a bomb squad could came to life. He introduced Eze at halftime, and it was Eze who provided a long ball that led to the late equalizer from Gabriel Martinelli, salvaging a crucial point for the Gunners. But the final score was 1-1. And while the draw felt like a victory for Arsenal, the outcome ultimately benefited one team more than the other, and that is Liverpool. Now, it is surprising that, yeah, you scored at the 93rd minute, but don't you think that something else could happen? Why celebrate? Martinelli went and did a knee slide after scoring against Man City. Like, I don't understand the mentality. You went and did a knee slide after scoring against Man City when you could have carried the ball and run down to the middle because there was like 2 more minutes left to play. Now, Liverpool, with that result, now sit 5 points clear of both teams, Arsenal and Man City. The draw suggested that, the title race may be more than just a 2-horse race, and that Liverpool's direct high pressing approach is proving to be a more effective weapon than the complex strategies of the 2 main contenders in Man City and Arsenal. Now, the week was about to be more than just a top of the table clash. It was about drama and chaos and a narrative perfectly encapsulated by Manchester United's 2-1 victory over Chelsea at Old Trafford. The match was a masterclass in controlled chaos. It came alive just 5 minutes in when Chelsea's goalkeeper Robert Sanchez was shown a straight red card for a dangerous tackle outside the box, leaving his team with 10 men and a mountain to climb. United, under the guidance of Ruben Amorim, wasted little time capitalizing on their numerical advantage with Bruno Fernandes converting a chance created by Patrick Dogu, and then which led him to score his 54th, which led him to score his 100th goal for 100 goal for Manchester United after 200 Premier League appearances. An astounding start. But the chaos continued, and Chelsea's Cole Palmer was forced off in an unprecedented trial of substitutions that led to Enzo Maresca panicking in the 21st minute. A move that severely disrupted their attacking structure, and the playing field was leveled at the first half stoppage time. However, when United's Casemiro was sent off for a rash tackle, despite the fact that everybody saw that tackle was yellow card was a bit harsh. The second yellow card, the first yellow card, no doubt it was given, but the second yellow card was a bit harsh, and obviously, despite that, both teams were now 10 men after Casemiro had scored the second goal. So immediately he scored the second. He got a yellow card after we scored the first, after Man United scored the first goal, and then got a yellow card after Man United scored the second goal. And that he was the one that scored the goal. So he got a yellow card, scored a goal, and got another yellow card and got sent off. And obviously, you could say that Chelsea would not use the opportunity to give an excuse that obviously that they lost the game due to the fact that they had a red card. But the expected goals were more than 0.39, a far cry from United. That's for Chelsea, a far cry from United's 1.74. And Trevor Chalobah scored a late consolation goal, but the final result was a testament of Manchester United's triumph amid the chaos and even the heavy downpour. The victory was more than just 3 points. It was a crucial lifeline for manager Ruben Amorim, whose tenure has been under scrutiny. A prior report had indicated that patience with him was running out, but the win provided a crucial cause and effect relationship, buying him time and the platform to build from. Now, this brings us to the first of our 2 defining themes of the week, the managerial merry-go-round. Matchweek 5 was a prime illustration of how a single result can dramatically alter a manager's trajectory. Right, Ruben Amrim's situation provides a clear example of this, with only 31 points in 31 league matches before the match against Chelsea. The report about patience running out was very real, but the victory against Chelsea, however, chaotic, immediately shifted the public narrative, and it wasn't just a win; it was a boost to his vision and a crucial lifeline. If you think about it from that perspective, you could tell that Manchester United, you really needed that win, and Ruben Amorim had to galvanize the team to get that. In stark contrast, David Moyes' winless streak at Anfield remains the deeply entrenched and psychological weight. Even with the revitalized Everton side featuring a Jack Grealish who troubled Liverpool all game, the team was unstable to break the historical was unable to break the historical barrier of two um, barrier, and the 2-1 defeat extended Moyes' winless run to 21 games at the ground at Liverpool's ground. Now, the continuity of this narrative, despite the team showing signs of improvement, highlights how historical context can also be a dominant force in a sporting rivalry. And the historical context brings us to our second defining theme, which is the VAR scrutiny. VAR under scrutiny. The off-field conversation surrounding VAR, took a crucial turn following the Matchweek 5. The Premier League's refereeing body, PGMOL, publicly admitted to a series of errors that had occurred in the prior match day. Now, this admission transformed the debate from the theoretical discussion to a technology of concrete review or of tangible consequences. Now, the PGMOL acknowledged a VAR mistake in the match in the match between Chelsea and Fulham, where Fulham goal was wrongly disallowed. Now, the consequence was immediate and public. The VAR official for that game, Michael Salisbury, was removed from his duties for the high-profile Arsenal versus Man City fixture following the following match day. The following day. Now, the action shows that the league is trying to hold officials accountable, but it also highlights the immense pressure that they face and the direct impact their decisions have or may have with games. Now, even more critically, PGMOL also admitted that Wolverhampton Wanderers should have been awarded a penalty in the 3-2 defeat to Everton. That single error took a monumental importance when viewed in the context of Wolves' current struggles. A team now rooted in the bottom of the table with 0 points and was denied an opportunity to earn a point that could have been the difference between the crisis and a glimmer of hope. Now, the single decision connects the off-field controversy directly to the league's most pressing on-field narrative, demonstrating how systemic failures can also have profound and lasting impacts on a club's fortunes. And speaking of those on-field narratives, let's turn our attention to the rest of the league where the defining trajectories are now crystal clear. First, the crisis at Wolverhampton Wanderers deepened with a 3-1 home defeat to Leeds United. The loss leaves Wolves at the foot of the table and the team without a point after 5 games, despite an early goal from Ladislav Krejci, and a higher expected goals stat than their opponents. The team capitulated, highlighting a profound crisis of confidence and an inability to convert chances into goals. Just above them, West Ham and Aston Villa both sit on 3 points and defensive struggles also. And they have defensive struggles also, and with an inability to win, raising serious concerns. Brentford, with only 4 points, find themselves, precariously positioned just above the relegation zone. Meanwhile, a few teams are on the rise, with Fulham securing a 3-1 victory over Brentford, and with Alex Iwobi earning a spot on Alan Shearer's Team of the Week. Tottenham Hotspur also played out a thrilling 2-2 draw with Brighton, with Richarlison's 2 goals underscoring his value, and perhaps most surprisingly, Crystal Palace securing a 2-1 win over West Ham, extending their extraordinary 17-game unbeaten run in all competitions. So, where does that leave us? The conclusion of the Matchweek 5, has presented basically a surprisingly clear news landscape at the top of the table. Now, we're just going to give you a quick rundown of what the table looks like right now in the Premier League. So, if we're looking at the table, Liverpool are sitting comfortably at the top with 5 straight wins. Arsenal are in second with 2 wins three wins, one loss, and one draw. And the next game is Newcastle. Liverpool's next game is Crystal Palace. And then Tottenham Hotspur are sitting third with 10 points, just same as Arsenal, joined second with Arsenal. 10 points, 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. The next game is Wolves, and they're definitely going to smash Wolves. Bournemouth are fourth. They've played 5 games. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. And the next game is Leeds. And then Crystal Palace are fifth with 2 wins, 2 wins and 3 draws, no loss at all. They are joined by Liverpool in the no loss table. The only two unbeaten teams in the Premier League this season. They have 3 draws and 2 wins, and the next game is against Liverpool. Then Chelsea are sitting at 6th with 5 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. And the next game is against Brighton. And Sunderland, surprisingly, the dark horses so far in first 5 games, are sitting in 7th. They've played 5 as well, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. And their next game is against Nottingham Forest. And then Fulham sits 8th, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss, same as Sunderland. And their next game is against Aston Villa. And then we have Man City, who sit in 9th, and they have 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, and their next game is against Burnley. And then Everton in 10th, 5 games, 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, same as Man City. The next game is West Ham, and they potentially could smash West Ham with Jack Grealish being in top form. And then Manchester United are sitting in 11th with 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, and the next game is against Brentford, who are sitting in 17th. And then we have Leeds United, who are sitting in 12th, just under Manchester United, with same points as Man United, 7 points. And they have 2 losses, 2 wins, and 1 draw. And then Newcastle are sitting in 13th, and they have 6 points with 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 loss. Their next game is against Arsenal. And then Brighton, same thing. The next game is against Chelsea. They have 5 points, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. Nottingham Forest, 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. Their next game is against Sunderland. And then Burnley, 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses. Their next game is against Man City. And then Brentford, 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses. And the next game is against Manchester United, sitting in 17th. And then Aston Villa sitting in 18th, 0 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses. And they're playing Fulham next. And then they have 3 points. West Ham as well. They have 1 win, 0 draws, and 4 losses. They have 3 points in total, and they play against Everton next. And then the last position is Wolverhampton Wanderers with no wins in 5, and they play against Spurs next. So if we're going to talk about that, just to kind of give you like a summary of everything, like I said, basically Liverpool with a perfect record of 15 points have 5-point cushion over the nearest rivals Arsenal, Tottenham, and Bournemouth. And Bournemouth, yes, who are surprisingly sitting in 4th place. Manchester City, the defending Manchester City, who were champions 2 years ago, are now in 9th position, just 7 points. With just 7 points, their worst start in 20 years. Right now, the 5-point cushion for Liverpool is a significant psychological and competitive advantage this early in the season. The title race, it seems, is not just a two-way contest anymore. It's a more complex battle, and Liverpool have seized the early initiative. So what's next? Matchweek 6 will answer pivotal questions. Can Liverpool extend their perfect run or perfect record when they face high-flying Crystal Palace? So 2 unbeaten teams facing each other, one must go. Right? And then a team in the midst of its own remarkable unbeaten run. I mean, like I said, for the chasing pack, a pivotal clash awaits Arsenal at St. James's Park to take on Newcastle. The outcome of that match will either further entrench Liverpool's leads or bring the Gunners back into closer contention. And finally, all eyes will be on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, the question on everyone's mind is simple. Can they finally break their pointless streak and secure their first win of the season or first result of the season? or will their crisis deepen further? Then also to answer these questions will undoubtedly shape the narrative of the weekend or on the coming weeks as well, and further define the season's overarching story. So thank you so much for joining me on this match week preview or match week review of match week 5. I mean, if you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and let me know your thoughts on match week 5 in the comments below. Which team do you think outperformed themselves this match week, and who do you think will come out on top in match week 6? And can Wolves finally turn their season around? Let's talk about it in the comment section. So hit the notification bell, drop your comments, and let me know your thoughts about your team, how your team performed, and what you expect of your team. Some teams are looking a bit shaky, like Man City as well, having shaky defenses. Chelsea as well, having shaky defenses. So we need to talk about these kinds of games and stuff. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Another question is, who's going to get the first sack? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.